About the G20 summit that's currently underway and how CNN News 18's managing editor Zaka Jacob also spoke to senior Russian journalist Ksenia Kondaveva, and he in fact spoke about a range of those issues. So let's take a look at that important conversation, and then we will continue with this coverage of day one of the G20 summit that India is hosting.
What are the indications that you're picking up from the Russian delegation as to what would be an acceptable formulation for Russia and the Russian side if we were to get a joint declaration here in New Delhi?
Thanks for having me. See, Russia is known to be not very vocal on these issues and on the expectations, even though previously the Russian officials and the Minister Lavrov himself said that, well, they don't consider this as a platform to discuss, Ukraine conflict. I wouldn't expect the para disappearing from the declaration since we already had it in Bali. How the wording will go, will it change dramatically, will it remain the same? Because we are hearing that even the same para is not something that Russia and particularly China would agree. But again, those are talks and rumors. See, what is important, and I think for us it also would be an important point, having a declaration or a chair's statement. We have to look at this 9 months of presidency, what all discussions have been going, and what all, how people take their issues, be it climate or debt or whatever they discuss, how these discussions are going. Even within a chair's statement, those points are there that countries have agreed on these and that. Okay, there is no consensus on one para. So does it matter for the entire world, or the discussions matter? And India, under its presidency, has gone out with technological outreach, with a lot of things that can be physically implemented. That's what matters.
Can I just get an understanding? Yes, there was a brief paragraph about the Russia-Ukraine war, even in the Bali declaration. What part of that language, of that text, was not acceptable to Russia? Because Russia agreed in Bali. What's changed between Bali and Delhi?
I think the entire para, the existence of this para, is something that Russia doesn't principally agree on. Again, as I said, this is not the forum to bring geopolitical issues. Now, we will. I wouldn't comment on behalf of the Russian government. Let's hear them out whenever they speak, and it's actually very important because the U.S. government speaks quite a lot, and we see their quotes all over the Indian media. But we see much less of that. The quotes from the Russian government. So I hope that we can listen to them and really know their position.
But it would be odd if there was no reference at all to the war. I don't think the US or its European partners would allow a declaration without any mention about the war at all.
That's important. Frankly, I was trying to get the sense of it yesterday, and at the press conference I asked the question because I see it from a bit different perspective. Indian officials have said that Ukraine conflict has impacted the food security and so on and so on. What actually have impacted the food security and the global chain supply, first it was COVID and then the conflict started, it is the sanctions. The countries cannot trade with each other because of the sanctions. So is there any reference to this? Is there any responsibility? Because it's not the developing countries, it's not the global south who put the sanctions out, right? It's just few countries, but that impacts the entire world. Is that being discussed? Will they exempt some countries whom they think all these issues impact? I've never heard such discussions. And it's my personal view as a journalist, as a business journalist, I think this is something that we should be talking about, apart from just referring to the conflict that is going on.
And we go on with our continuous coverage on the G20 Summit that India is hosting as the president of G20. This is the concluding part of the fact that India is now part of this entire G20 Summit. 2 days the summit goes on, and November 30th, 2023 is when this ends. Now, we will continue all the developments that we are tracking. This will be right here on CNN News 18. Right now, slipping into a very short break. Coming right back.